Tonight's loss does nothing to diminish the way that I feel about Texas or this country.
The candidates who won and lost across the country are stealing most of the headlines the day after midterms. But along with the House, Senate, and governor's races, there was also major criminal justice reform measures passed overnight that will affect millions of Americans in the coming years. First, the big one.
Amendment 4 has been passed.
Florida voters passed Amendment 4, giving some 1.5 million former felons in Florida the right to vote. The state amendment allows formerly incarcerated people who have completed their prison sentence, parole, and probationary periods to vote in state and federal elections. It does preclude those convicted of murder or felony sex offenses. Like many criminal justice reforms, this measure significantly impacts Florida's black population. Before this amendment was passed, more than 20% of otherwise eligible black voters had to stay home on Election Day. In Louisiana, voters passed Amendment 2, which eliminated a Jim Crow-era law that allowed non-unanimous juries in felony trials. Louisiana was one of only 2 states where you didn't need a unanimous verdict to convict someone of a felony. Lastly, the rights of crime victims also had a big night on Tuesday. Georgia, Kentucky, Oklahoma, North Carolina, and Florida all expanded the rights of crime victims by passing a version of what's called Marsy's Law. Marsy's Law is essentially a crime victim bill of rights. The specifics vary from state to state, but it allows things like crime victims to be present and heard at criminal trials, be formally notified when the trial is, and refuse an interview or deposition. The ACLU and other advocacy groups have come out against some Marsy's Law provisions because they believe it undermines due process.